Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I'm a nutrition entrepreneur. I spent 7 years as a side hustler before diving into entrepreneurship full time. Before making the leap, I was bringing in 6 figures through my side hustle. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome to the 250th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, State of the Side Hustle. Now, before we dive in, I just want to take a minute to recognize that we are at episode number 250. Some of you have very recently found the podcast, but some of you have been listening since way back in the day. For those who don't know, the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast actually started at the end of 2019 and honestly feels like 25 lifetimes ago. So, anyways, as I was writing up notes for today's episode, I was like, oh my goodness, 250? Where did the time go? Now, in today's episode, I will tell you this episode's dropping tomorrow morning. I've been spending a lot of time compiling data with a recent survey I completed called State of the Side Hustle, which in this episode I'll dive into, but in a nutshell, I am going to be sharing survey results. But I'm just going to say my brain's a little tired. I'm a little exhausted, I think, emotionally, just going through all the responses because you guys are so amazing in how deep you go and what you share. So I feel like if this episode weren't going live tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be recording it now. I'd probably just go lay down or go on a walk and do a little bit of a recovery after going through this data. I'd gone through the data before, but this was really my deep dive. If you're on my email list, I will be emailing out the results as well. It's going to be one heck of a long email, but I do have my notes pulled up in front of me, and I'm going to be kind of going through, reading things, throwing in, just going off the top of my head at different parts. But just fair warning, I'm a little tired, but also very excited for this topic. This episode has actually been on my to-do list, and I've been moving it back because you guys listen to the podcast. We know, we've had a lot of really amazing guests lately. Actually, a lot of really amazing guests. And so I'm finally able to sneak in a solo episode to share the results of a survey I did. So anyways, let's dive in. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I recently sent out a survey asking about the state of the side hustle, pretty much saying, hey, how are you guys? I didn't promote it too much. I will say that. I think I sent 2 emails, a couple posts. I didn't do like a big push for it. But oh my goodness, your responses blew me away. So many of you opened up about where you're at, what you're dreaming of, and what's getting in the way. From wanting more time, freedom, and flexibility to feeling overwhelmed, stuck, and just not sure where to start. Your honesty reminded me of why I do this work, why I continue to do this work. And yeah, it got me so excited. So what I'm going to be sharing today is some of the biggest takeaways from the survey. And I say the biggest takeaways, but I'm going to share everything with you. Almost everything. I mean, there were a lot of open responses, and we're not going to spend 3 hours with me reading every response, though I will be doing some highlights, and ChatGPT helped me to create some wonderful summaries to kind of summarize what the results were. So I'm going to go over the results of the survey, but then also I do at the end of the episode, I want to share some current resources that I have for you guys. But as a side note, I've got so much more in the works for you. I feel like with the Brand Dietitian Side Hustle, I've built out a wealth of resources, and honestly, the survey is just helping me to create even more ways to serve you guys through free content, through low price paid content, and all of the things. So, okay, let's dive in. I wish I had water on me. I was starting to record this episode and I'm like, man, I wish I had a bottle of water. I guess at some point I could just take a little break and run and get a bottle of water, but let's see how far I can go, okay? So let's dive into the results of the State of the Side Hustle survey. This was sent out in the month of March, and the number of respondents was 55. So 55 respondents. As I go through and share the responses of all 15 questions, I'm going to be sharing percentages. Now, remember, I didn't promote this a lot, so I was really impressed that 55 of you took the time to complete the survey. If you are listening, thank you for completing the survey because, again, the answers were so good. And this was a long survey. It was 15 questions, but there's a lot of like fill in the blank. So it was quite a long survey. So I'm very, very grateful. So let's dive in. Question number one was a simple question. Simply, what is your profession? And no big surprise, but 89% of respondents are dietitians. About 5% were dietetic interns, and about 5% were other healthcare professionals. Because while the brand dietitian side hustle obviously is for dietitians, because I'm a dietitian, there are so many other healthcare professionals who benefit from this information. I know that a lot of you listening are not dietitians, and thank you for listening. While this content is for dietitians, it is not exclusively for dietitians. And honestly, any allied healthcare professional, like, same, right? Everything that we struggle with as dietitians, everything that we want as dietitians, it translates across the board. But of those completing the survey, about 90% were dietitians. So my next question was, do you have a side hustle? Because some of you, yes, you have a side hustle. Some of you are like, well, no, I'm around because I want a side hustle. So of respondents, 62% said, yes, I have a side hustle. 20% said no, and 18% said, actually, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. Now, one caveat here, I am kind of rounding up or down, so I thought I'd say the time of saying 61.8% said yes. I'm going to email the results if you want to see the nitty gritty. And if you're not on my email list, just email me and I'll send them to you. And, or shoot me if you don't know my email. Go to Instagram at the Katie Dodd and shoot me a message. So mostly dietitians, about 62% are side hustlers, about 20% are full-time entrepreneurs. So question number 3, if you are a side hustler, how much money on average are you making in your side hustle? Now the number one response at 7% was none. And that makes sense, right? A lot of you are just getting started. Some of you are really frustrated, like, oh gosh, I started the side hustle, but I haven't seen, income yet. Next we had at 25.6%, making less than $100 a month. So making some, but not a huge amount yet. Around 16% making between $100 and $500 a month. 11% making between $500 and $1,000 a month. And then about 5% making $2,000 to $5,000 a month, and 5% making over $5,000 a month in their side hustle. So quite a range, but of those who completed this survey of the 55, most of them are making, anywhere from like $100 to $500 a month. And some people making none, some people making pretty darn good amounts that do exceed what some people make in a traditional job. So next question is, are you looking to add an additional stream of income in the next 1 to 6 months? And I did say additional stream of income because, I asked the question, are you a side hustler? But I also asked, are you a full hustler? Are you a full-time entrepreneur? Because I understand that many of you listening and in this community, you're full-time entrepreneurs. But what you do primarily, maybe you're working with clients, that's almost like your regular job, right? That is what you do to make ends meet. That is what you do to, provide for yourself, for your family. And oftentimes full-time entrepreneurs are looking for an additional stream of income. So I consider really any additional stream of income as a side hustler. You could be a full hustler, a full-time entrepreneur, and still want to add extra side hustles, extra streams of income. So that is why specifically I asked, like, are you looking to add another stream of income? So essentially, are you looking to add something new, friends? And 94.5% said, yes, I am. About 5% said, no, not right now, which is fine. So the next question I wanted to know, okay, if you are interested in starting a side hustle, what side hustles interest you the most? And this was a select all that apply. So as I say the percentages, it's not going to add up to 100 because it was pretty much like whatever you're interested in. And this was really, really fascinating to me because the results have changed over the years. I would do more informal surveys, not anything this meaty in the past. And it's kind of cool to see what the shift has looked like. So initially there was a tie for 3, and I keep saying that there was a tie for 3, but one person did submit the survey after I had looked at everything. So technically there's 2 top ones, and then the third one is really high too. It's just like one less. So looking at the side hustles that interest you all the most, 62% said selling digital goods. 62% said online courses, and 60% said blogging. And I'm like, golly, I do all of those things. So I am here to help you with all of those. 49% said affiliate marketing, Love that one too. 47% said self-publishing on Amazon. 33% said podcasting. And y'all know I love to podcast, especially if you're listening to this right now. 31% said freelance writing. And this one was interesting to me because actually in the past, freelance writing was always at the top of the list, and now it's a little bit lower. And I'm not surprised given the current state of everything. Next at 27%, we have brand and media work. 25% said speaking gigs. 18% said patient care. 9% said influencer, and 7% said virtual assistant. So a big range of side hustles that you guys are interested in, but at the top, reigning strong, selling digital goods, online courses, blogging, affiliate marketing, and self-publishing on Amazon, which all of those can go together. I'm just saying. So question number 6, I was asking you guys, what type of business services are you most interested in? Because I am a creator. I am always trying to figure out, what do you want? What do you need? What can I create for you? And so I said, hey, what kind of things are you looking for? And here was the responses. 54.5% said low price products. 47.3% said free content. About 44% said low price memberships. 44% said comprehensive courses. 44% said one-on-one coaching. 35% said mastermind or group coaching. And 16% said in-person events. Also note this was a check all that apply. So some of you picked all of the things, but very interesting. So then I asked, okay, if this is what you're interested in, what is your budget for business development? Because, school taught us on how to become a dietitian or another healthcare professional, right? But it's up to us to go out there and learn how to make money, learn how to be business owners, learn how to be entrepreneurs. So what is your budget for business development? Now, the highest one at 38% was $10 a month, or about $100 a year. 34% of you right behind that said $100 a month, or about $1,000 a year. 25% of you said zero. I am broke right now. 20% said $50 a month, or about $500 a year, and about 7% said $500 a month, or about $5,000 a year. So obviously a range in what those who completed the survey are interested in investing in themselves for business development, but more people were in the range of anywhere from $10 to $100 a month, or $100 to $1,000 a year, with a good chunk of people saying, hey, I still got big dreams, I still got big ambitions, but I don't really have a budget right now for business development. But the good news is there's lots of free content out there and low price content, and we'll talk more about that at the end. Question number 8. I wanted to know who's completing this survey. Who is in my world? So I asked, do the following apply to you? Select all that apply. Are you on the email list? My email list. 87% who completed the survey said yes, which is not a big surprise because that's primarily how I promoted the surveys, through my email list. 73% of you are in the Dietitian Side Hustle Facebook group. 61% have visited the Dietitian Side Hustle website at dietitiansidehustle.com. 56% follow me on Instagram at the Katie Dodd. Now you will also find at Dietitian Side Hustle, but I no longer use that as a primary. I actually changed the name of my primary from Dietitian Side Hustle to the Katie Dodd to reflect my name. And then I also secured Dietitian Side Hustle as another account because I didn't want to lose the name, because it's, I want to have my name, but then also the brand name. So, and then the last one, 49% of those who completed the survey listen to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. So hello, friends who completed the survey and listened to the podcast. I appreciate you all. So my next question, question 9, was, of those completing the survey, have you worked with me before? 56% said yes. 44% said no. So I wasn't entirely surprised by this because, again, this was a really meaty survey. And so, for those of you who have worked with me before, thank you for completing the survey. But for those of you who have never worked with me before, maybe you just listen to the podcast or, in my world on social, thank you for taking the time to help me by completing the survey. So next we have question number 10, and this was a open-ended question. It was, what is your reason for wanting or having a side hustle? I wanted to dig deep on, what's your reason for doing this, guys? Now, I will say I utilized ChatGPT to do a summary. I put the results in. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, summarize this for me. So I'm going to be sharing a summary of some themes. I'm going to be kind of breaking that down into percentage of theme. And then I'm going to actually share some responses of what people put for their reason for wanting a side hustle. So the common themes that ChatGPT found for us: financial freedom, looking for extra income, paying off debts, leaving current jobs. Next, time freedom and flexibility, wanting control over your own schedule, wanting to stop trading time for money. Next is a desire to transition out of traditional dietitian roles. Then, creative fulfillment and greater impact. And others did note they want to reduce their one-on-one work, eventually retire. Others are looking to build a brand or explore passive income streams. So then ChatGPT broke down kind of percentage based on theme. So when I share these percentages, not like these many people like check this box. This is like ChatGPT is saying this was the percentage of people that gave this kind of themed response. So 56% of people are either wanting to or have a side hustle because they want the extra income. 38% want time freedom. 28% want to leave their job or have a career shift. 18% really want to make impact and help people. 16% work-life balance. 12% creative fulfillment. 10% entrepreneurship, business building, and 2% to escape burnout and have stress relief. Now, I'm going to share some specific responses. Of course, these are all anonymous, so there's no way of knowing, but I think this is really cool to look at. Like, why are dietitians side hustling? Or if they're full hustlers, why are they adding additional streams of income? So, of the specific responses, one dietitian said, paying for my mom's care. Another said, start a business or start building a side business to build a retirement business income stream. The next person shared, I want to eventually become a full-time entrepreneur. I'm tired of trading time for money. Freedom, period, the end. I want more time with my kids. Extra money to pay off student loans and do fun things. I want more flexibility in my life and to make more money on top of my 9 to 5. I'm passionate about the field of dietetics and strive to have more of an impact. When it comes to a side hustle, it feels like forcing myself to climb a mountain of uncertainty. But perhaps that's what it's about. Perhaps my deep drive will be to discover more about me. And perhaps this feeling is reflective of my first attempt at a side hustle, which was aimed to help me climb out of a bad situation. I love that one. So I'm like, yes. Because if you guys don't know, for me, a side hustle is so much more than a side hustle. Um, I don't think I've shared yet. I'm going to share about it in the podcast. I'm going to do a whole episode, but I'm writing a book right now called Dietitian Side Hustle. And you will see in the book so much of why I am so passionate about this brand. You could even see it in the questions I ask here. It's not just about a business. It's about you. It's about your whole life. It's much deeper than that. So I'm not going to go on a tangent. Oh, I want to go on. I'm not going to go on a tangent. There'll be more podcasts coming later about that. So, anyways, I thought that was a good one. And then the last one I wanted to share because I thought it was so cool. Someone said, "I'm screenshotting this response so to ponder on these feelings for the first time." Wow, you're coaching me without actually coaching. So I love to question like, why do you want to start a side hustle? We were able to get someone to really dig deep and really figure this out. So anyways, I hope that made sense. I just, if you guys probably noticed, I just started like pausing in between responses, but I loved going through these responses, pulling out ones to share. I wanted to share all of them, but I'm like 55 responses for these questions is too much. But those are some of the highlights. So maybe as I shared those, you're like, yes, I understand. And I completely connect to that. I want to be able to have money to take care of my family. I want to start my own business. I want to be a full-time entrepreneur. I don't want to trade time for money. I want freedom. I want to be present with my kids. I don't want to have these darn loans. I want to have fun. I want to have a flexible life. I want to have a full life. That's the whole purpose behind Dietitian Side Hustle. Live your dreams, change the world. And when I say live your dreams, change the world, what I mean is change your world and the whole world, right? Not just the whole world. I want to change your world to live a life you might not even be able to imagine right now. Side hustling changed my life in more ways than I've shared on the podcast, but I will eventually. So I hope that you resonated with some of those. I'm like, yes, I hear you. Same. So my next question was a multiple choice, and it was, what's your biggest barrier to start growing your side hustle? Meaning, like, if you want a side hustle or if you have one, like, what's getting in the way? I am big on figuring out what's getting in the way because I know that each and every one of you listening, you are more than capable of creating a side hustle, of making money, of making impact. But there's always something that's going to get in the way. We all have barriers, but we also have to reflect on, man, what is it? What is it for me that's going to get in the way? And sometimes it takes a lot of really thinking about this and really reflecting, diving deep. And sometimes we think it's this, but it's actually this and all the things. But in order for me to help all of you to live your dreams and change the world, we have to start with figuring out what is going to get in the way for you. And that way we could break it down. Because again, you are more than capable. When you look at people who have success, they are no more special, no more important than you. They just maybe have, a coach. Maybe they've got more guidance. Maybe they've been able to work on those barriers that get in the way. So when I asked the question of what is your biggest barrier to growing a side hustle, 60% said too much overwhelm. I'm going to go on a tangent and I'm going to come back. So I was not surprised by this. I mentioned actually a couple podcast episodes ago, episode 242, I talked about pay what you can coaching calls. I ended up putting out 10 pay what you can coaching calls, finished those 10, had so many people on my wait list, and there was such an amazing response. I said, hey, I'll do 10 more. So I have done 20 pay what you can coaching calls. They ended last week. And in talking to people, one of the biggest themes that I found was overwhelm. So much overwhelm. There's so many things that I feel like I have to do, so many things I think I need to do. And I feel so overwhelmed. I feel so like stressed out because I don't have time to do all these things. I don't know what to prioritize, what not to prioritize. And I just feel stuck. The overwhelm is real. That was the biggest theme I think I got talking from everyone. And the calls were fun because some people I said, hey, stop doing this. Sometimes we need permission to stop doing things that aren't helping us, stop doing things that aren't serving us, even if they seem like the right thing to do. So I was able to tell people, stop doing this. No, here's what you need to do. If this is your goal, here is what you need to do. Whew, those calls were fun. But anyways, overwhelm was a big theme with that too. So with this survey of the 55 dietitians who completed the State of the Side Hustle survey, 60% said that their biggest barrier was too much overwhelm. 58% said not enough time. 40% said not enough confidence. 25% said not enough money. 20% said, I have no idea where to start. 18% said, I am not good at tech. 16% said they don't have enough support. And then there was some options listed, and people put things from mindset to marketing confusion, unclear on their niche, retirement distractions, and personal setbacks. So those are barriers. And honestly, I feel like each one of those, I'm like, I want to do a podcast episode on each and every one. I should do that. Ooh, I'm going to write this down. I should do that. I'm going to put this right now in my list of podcast episodes, and I'm going to make a themed series on overcoming barriers. Overcoming barriers. I'm writing it down right now, so I will do it. It's going to be later, probably in summer. I actually have my next 4 episodes scheduled out, not all recorded yet. But then after that, I'll come up with a theme series on overcoming barriers because I almost feel like each of those needs a good sesh where we could dive deep and break down some barriers because, I'm not going to go into it. I've done episodes on limiting beliefs, and I will tell you, I feel like I don't want to be rude when I say this, because if you're saying, no, this is what my barrier is, you are 100% correct. That is your barrier. But it's also a limiting belief, meaning you're telling yourself a story that this is what's holding me back and I can't have success because of this. So we have to be able to lovingly break down your limiting beliefs to show you that, you know what? This may be an issue, but we can overcome it anyways, and let's figure out how to do it. And again, I say that with love because I feel like it could be really frustrating when someone's telling you like, well, I don't feel like I have enough time. And then I could say, no, the time is there. And you're like, are you not listening to me? I said, I don't have time. So anyways, I hope that makes sense. But I have been so lucky on my journey to be surrounded by people who have been able to lovingly remove my limiting beliefs, and I wouldn't be here today if that hadn't happened. So that's why I want to do a podcast episode about overcoming barriers because it's important. Okay. I'm trying really hard not to get distracted, guys. Mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I'm like, I'm so tired. I got energy now. I love talking about this stuff. Okay. Question 12 of 15. We are getting there, you guys. Question 12. Outside of side hustles, what are your biggest priorities right now? Read all of the options and select 1 to 3 top priorities. So I feel like this was maybe confusing, but pretty much I wanted people to look at everything and share, like, if look at all these things, what's like the most important? Maybe it's just one, maybe you have a few, but share. Um, and this question, actually, the next are really the root of who I am. Of course, I want you all to have a successful side hustle, but more than that, I want you to live your best life. I want you to become the person that you were created to be. I want to help you bridge the gap from where you are now and where you so desperately want to be. And a side hustle, it is a bridge to help us to live the life that we want. But there's things that happen outside of business that impact our ability to show up in business. But there's also things that can drive us to show up in business. So, and you guys listen to the podcast, you know that I'm all about emotions and, feelings and all these things. But I wanted to know, with side hustlers, like, let's just not talk about side hustles. Let's talk about, like, what are your actual priorities? And I'm just going to go ahead and list what you guys shared. 58% said my children. 44% said my physical health. 31% said my relationships. 31% said my mental health. 31% said paying my bills. 29% said being more productive. 22% said gaining financial independence. 20% said building my savings. 14% said self-care and me time. 14% said building my confidence. 13% said leaving my full-time job. 13% said going on memorable vacations. 9% said having more time in general. 7% said having a stronger community. And 5% said escaping toxic situations. I feel like I feel like this whole survey I could do content on for a podcast episode. Like, here's the next 250 episodes of the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for sharing this. And I hope as I read that, you connected with it too. Side hustles are important, right? Of course, it's a side hustle changed my life, but really reflecting on what are your biggest priorities right now outside of a side hustle. And oftentimes these are even more than the side hustle, right? And a lot of you are parents, my children. That's one of my top ones too. My physical health was, I'm only 41, you guys. I'm almost 42. But I feel like I know I'm not that old. I know I'm not that old. My brand is the geriatric dietitian. I am a geriatric dietitian. I love hanging out with older adults. I know that I'm very young. But goodness gracious, my body, my lower back hurts. I started going to a new gym and I hurt my knee. And I'm like, what's happening? The brain and the body are not connecting. I was just talking to my parents today and I was like, you don't know what you got till it's gone. And really talking about physical activity because I was doing some yard work because, it's spring is springing. I want my yard to look nice, but my lower back's hurting. So I'm out there doing yard work I shouldn't be doing, but I got to get it done. And I was just like, man, honestly, my back's been hurting the last couple days. Picking things up has been a struggle. So, so I feel like for me, at the ripe age of 41, physical health is getting more important because, I think there's things I took for granted when I was in my 20s. I could fall down the stairs, pop back up, and keep going. And now if I go down, I'm staying down. I'm not going anywhere. So, anyways, maybe you connect, but I think the thing is that it's very easy to take really anything for granted, including our physical health. And I know that we are in the healthcare space, but also I know that most of you listening are women. not all of you. Most of you are women. A lot of you are parents, and a lot of you are working full-time jobs. You are doing so many things, and you are so exhausted, and you are trying to chase a side hustle because you have a dream and you want a better life, and you're just exhausted. When do I have time to do all the things, including taking care of my physical health? So I love that this is a priority for a lot of you because it should be. It all connects. But then also relationships, mental health. I love that one. You guys know I love talking about mental health. But then also paying the bills. I feel like, you know, seeing people's responses to these and some of the questions I'm going to be sharing next just really got to me because it's hard out there, you guys. I know all of you are in different places, but I think a lot of you can connect with me when I say when I went to school, I thought that I'm going to become a dietitian and I'm going to get a good job and life's going to be easy. I'm not going to have to worry and stress about bills and making money and doing all these things. And then we get a job as a dietitian and we realize, oh, shoot, I'm still living paycheck to paycheck and I feel like I just can't get ahead. And so we know with shifts and changes we've seen in the economy, a lot of you are having a hard time. And really the goal is I just want to pay my bills. We're not even talking about like all the big stuff. It might just be, I just need to pay my bills because I am so stressed about all the things going on. So I just want to say, as I'm sharing this, I know all of you are in different places, but you are seen and you are heard and you are not alone, regardless of where you're at. And if you're doing fine financially, and maybe for you, it's physical health, for you, it's mental health, it doesn't matter where you're at because you're not alone. And all of these things are so, so important. My next question, question 13, was how are you? How are you? Kind of tied into the last one because, again, outside of just, making money and impact, I care about you guys. And I wanted to know, how are you? The questions I asked: how are you? I'm hanging in there. I'm tired. I'm overwhelmed. I'm good. I'm stressed. Here's the responses. And this was pick one. Just one second. I'm looking at my answers because apparently I wrote 218%. That is not accurate. 218% said I'm good. That's actually not accurate. Okay. I'm good. Ah, I see where my decimal goes. Okay. So the number one was I'm hanging in there. 33% of you said I'm hanging in there, Katie. 29% said I'm tired. 24% said I'm overwhelmed. 22% said I'm good. 20% said I am stressed. And I just want to acknowledge this, you guys. And I'm questioning, was this a select all that apply? I feel like this math is that mathing? No, I think it is. Wait, 20. Yep, it's mathing. It adds up to 100. Okay. But I just want to acknowledge here that when I asked you guys, how are you? Only 22% said I'm good. And now I know this isn't like some formal, survey. We're talking an N of 55, right? But I think that's accurate. I think that's so accurate. So if you're feeling at all like I am hanging in by a thread, I am so stressed, I'm so overwhelmed, I am so tired, you are not alone. It's going to get better, and you are in the right place. And for you 22 who are good, yay! So happy for you. Oh, I'm trying to think of where I'm at right now. I will say, actually, right now, I feel like I'm good. Ask me tomorrow, I might be overwhelmed. The next day, I might be tired. The next day, I might be good. The next day, I might be stressed. The next day, I might just be hanging in there. But right now, I'm actually good. Okay, two more questions, you guys. Question number 14. How can dietitian side hustle best help you, aka how can I help you? I'm Katie Dodd. I am dietitian side hustle. So this was open-ended. So I did ask ChatGPT to summarize the themes. And so I'll share the summary thanks to ChatGPT. And then I'm going to share some specific responses. So the common themes of how can I help you? I'll just I'll say the 5 themes and then I'll dive deeper into them. You guys are looking for help with getting started, step-by-step guidance, business building, confidence and mindset, community, and ongoing support. So with getting started, many of you said that you just don't know where to begin. You're overwhelmed with ideas, or you don't know, like, is this even realistic? And you want help in taking those first steps. Then looking at step-by-step guidance, there's a clear desire for actionable, bite-sized instructions. Tell me what to do and I'll do it, especially for blogging or starting a business or even launching a podcast. I was excited about that. Like, I need to do a podcast episode on starting a podcast. Business building, you guys want help for turning ideas into income, how to actually make money from your ideas and setting up a real business model. With confidence and mindset, some respondents expressed uncertainty. Imposter syndrome and fear of failure are holding people back, and they are looking for encouragement, coaching, and community. Then finally, the community and ongoing support. It says, your community loves the energy you bring and wants more spaces to connect, collaborate, and grow together. So I'm going to share some specific responses. And again, I wanted to take all 50, and I just did. I don't know how many I did. You'll hear it. I'll pause between each one. Okay. So specific responses on how can I help you, or how can Dietitian Side Hustle specifically help you? Looking for ideas where to start. Support with next level RDs in business. Encouragement. Reminders to keep going and make even the smallest bit of progress each day. I need to know where to start. I have lots of ideas, but I don't know what is realistic or even where to begin. It seems overwhelming most times. Help me build an easy to follow, actionable, manageable plan to creating a brand that brings in consistent monthly income without burning me out in the process. Keep being supportive. Make courses more affordable. Offer more group support, community, so we could learn from each other. Business planning and coaching. I want to learn more about blog writing and the best way to market on a budget. Plus, I really need a community of like-minded people who I can tap into their knowledge. And then finally, keep doing what you do. I'm so thankful for all the motivation and encouragement you provide. You inspire me. Thank you. So many of these comments were so kind, you guys. I'm going to share the last one. And actually, the last one, it was question 15 was, what else do you want me to know? And I'm actually not going to share any of those responses. And I would say the reason why I started this podcast with you guys, it's because I was going through each and every response, and I'm so grateful with how vulnerable you all are with me and how deeply you share with me, because your responses were real. They were so real. And again, I'm not going to read those ones, but I'll just share the summary of it, and then I'll get back on topic. And this is the summary according to ChatGPT. So it looked at all the responses and it gave us a summary. When I said, what else do you want me to know? So the common themes were appreciation, encouragement needed, personal notes, and desire for simplicity and support. So with appreciation, many people express gratitude and love for what you're doing, your podcast, courses, community, and energy. Encouragement needed. Several shared personal struggles, burnout, overwhelm, confidence issues, and how much your support means. Personal notes. Some mentioned health issues, family issues, being spread too thin, and how your work inspires them to keep going. Desire for simplicity and support. Respondents want help that matches their pace, especially with tech and business systems. So again, I appreciate you all so much for those who completed the survey. And I love the brand Dietitian Side Hustle, this little community that we've built, because you guys are so authentic. You guys are so vulnerable. You guys are so willing to dig deep and to work on yourselves. A lot of people start businesses. A lot of businesses fail. A lot of businesses fail. But I think one of the key pieces of preventing a business from failing is to dive deep into our mindset, diving deep into the other parts of our life that are overlapping with business, because it's not a separation of work life, personal life. It all overlaps. You could have things in your personal life that will take out your business, or your business can take out your personal life. So it all overlaps. So one of the beautiful things about the brand Dietitian Side Hustle is that we're bridging all these gaps together to help you guys to live your dreams, change the world. And I hope as I shared these, you guys were able to see yourself in these responses. And maybe you're like, I didn't complete the survey, Katie, but if I did, yep, I would have said that too. Yep, I would have said that too. So Those are the results. If you're on my email list, I'm going to email it to you. I'm going to do a real quick summary, and then I'm going to share about some resources, some things coming. So, a quick summary of the results. Most respondents were dietitians. A majority have a side hustle. Everyone wants more money. They want to start another income stream in the next 1 to 6 months. Most common budgets for business development, $100 a month or $1,000 a year. Some people are saying, hey, $10, $100 a year. Top barriers: time, overwhelm, lack of confidence. Motivation for why you guys want side hustles: time freedom, becoming full-time entrepreneurs, making extra money to reduce stress, pay off debt, financial freedom, flexibility, all of those things. Top barriers, I already said that. How are you? Okay, I'm not going to repeat stuff. Okay. So let's talk about resources available, because I kind of asked, like, hey, what are you looking for? A lot of people said free, and there are lots and lots of different ways that we can work together. But I want to go over free resources first, because there's a lot of stuff out there that maybe you don't even know exists. So I created Dietitian Side Hustle at the end of 2019, and I've been slowly chipping away at adding all kinds of different things. Now, the first thing, I feel silly saying this, but I'm going to put it in the email, so I'm just going to say it. The Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. Did you know I have a podcast, guys? But some people don't know this podcast exists. So this is a podcast for dietitians and students who are looking to be inspired to further their professional development, start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams, right? This is the 250th episode. So there's over 250 episodes available. And so you can binge listen or just hang out, because we're dropping new episodes every Wednesday. And you can find the podcast in all the major podcast directories. But that's a free resource. So I know all of you are here, so you know the podcast exists, but maybe tell a friend. Share it with someone. Let them know that they can listen to this podcast while driving in their car, folding their laundry, going to the gym. They can work on leveling up their mind and their side hustle through a little podcast. Another resource available that's completely free is the Dietitian Side Hustle Facebook group. Now, I know some of you are not on Facebook, and if you're not, you can always create an account that is specifically for you to be in this group. You don't have to add friends, you don't have to do anything. It's just a way for you to access this community. The community has over 6,000 dietitians and students just like you, and of course, there's some other healthcare professionals sprinkled in there. This is a great place to share, to learn, to support, to ask questions, and be inspired. It is a little community, totally free. The Dietitian Side Hustle website and resource page. So if you go to dietitiansidehustle.com, on the top there's lots of different options. There's Start Here, Work with Katie, but there's also a resource page, and it lists lots of different resources, from Facebook groups to join, podcasts to listen to, and more. So when I think of the Dietitian Side Hustle website, it's mostly just a resource for you guys. That's what it is. It's just a resource with tons and tons of information. There's a whole page called Side Hustle Ideas, where I highlight like top side hustles to get started. So there is a wealth of information there. So go check it out. Next, I have my dietitian online mini course, and many of you already have the mini course. But the question is, well, first off, do you have it? And if you have you actually watched it? This is one of the downsides of offering free things, you guys, and I'm just being honest, is that most people never watch the free things. And I'm guilty of that too. I see a freebie, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Name, email, never open it. So maybe you have the dietitian online mini course in your inbox and you've never watched it. I created this mini course to be short and actionable. It includes videos, inspiration, checklists to help you start making money online as a dietitian. So go check it out. And it's on my to-do list to update it soon. So and also, if you don't have it, if you're like, wait a minute, where do I find that? Go to the Dietitian Side Hustle website and click on Work with Katie. And they're pretty much, oh gosh, let me pull up the website and make sure I'm telling you guys the right thing. Dietitiansidehustle.com. One of the top menus is Work with Katie. And you scroll down, there's a little video of me talking. And then underneath that video, there's these are hyperlink buttons: freebies, independent study, and group programs. So you click on it and it drops down. I have a bunch of different freebies available. And the top one, the first one, is my dietitian online mini course. And then my independent study self-paced courses, and then group programs, if you want to learn more about the ways that we could work together. And then the next one I wanted to mention is new. So here's where we're shifting to some things that are coming based on the results of this survey. So I'm actually hosting a webinar this month, if you are listening to the podcast, relatively live. So on Monday, May 19th, I am going live with a brand new webinar that is going to teach you how to make money blogging. It is called the Make Money Blogging Webinar. And to register, you can go to katiedodd.com, and I think it's like the first option, Make Money Blogging Webinar. So be sure to register for that. It is going to, it's going to do so many good things. Some of you have been on my blogging as a business webinar. This is similar, but it's more focused on how to make money blogging. And I want to really paint the picture of what a blog is and how a blog makes money. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek. So I've been thinking a lot about this. We are so lucky to be alive in an era where we can make money online. Think of how entrepreneurs made money back in the day before the internet. They had an office, a physical in-person office, and that is how they made money. Clients came to them, right? Now we have the ability to have an online office. This is your blog. Your blog is a part of your website, and it is your online office. It is the place where you make money. It is your online virtual office, a place for you to make money through multiple streams of income. Active income, trading time for money, maybe working with clients, doing other kinds of contract work, or passive income where you are no longer trading time for money. So I am obsessed with blogging. There's lots of conversations about blogging all the time. Is blogging dead? Is AI, taking over blogging? Is it going away? How do you make money online? Come to the Make Money Blogging webinar and learn all of the things. So I do have more in the works, you guys. I have some immediate things in the works that I'm working on building for you guys right now, but I also have a new offer. I have a new offer. So, based on the survey results, those 20 pay what you can coaching calls and continue conversations with my students and other peers, I've created a really incredible offer that checks all the boxes of what you guys have been telling me you want. And I'm not gonna share the offer yet, because if you want to learn more about it, register for the webinar, because at the end of the webinar, that is when I'm going to be telling more about this opportunity and when doors will be opening. So make sure you are registered for the Make Money Blogging webinar, okay? But I'm very, very, very excited about it. So this has been a long episode. This has been a long episode, but I hope that you've enjoyed it. Really learning more about the state of the side hustle survey, and really hearing what your peers are saying about kind of where they're at and where they're struggling and what they're excited about and what they need. And my job over here as the person behind Dietitian Side Hustle is that I want to continue to help serve all of you in whatever your needs are, with free content, with low price content, with premium content, content that I can provide you myself, or people that I can connect you with to provide that content if I am not, your go-to person. So I'm excited for what's to come. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed the results of this survey, and I hope that you love all the things that I continue to build out for you guys. Again, side hustling changed my world in ways I could not even imagine. Started as a side hustle, became a full hustle, and it's become a life so incredible and beyond my wildest dreams. So I am grateful. As always, thank you to you guys. My dreams wouldn't be coming true if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you to each and every one of you. Thanks for listening to the podcast. And if you want to learn more about all the ways we could work together, go to katiedodd.com. That is my Linktree page. And tune in next week on the podcast. The next couple of episodes are solo, so it'll just be me babbling all over the place. Then we have an interview, and and now I have to do my theme series on overcoming barriers. More to come. Thanks, friends. Have a great week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.